Ladies and gentlemen, consent is not just a word, it is the very foundation of intimacy, the invisible contract that makes every touch safe, every act meaningful, and every experience empowering. Without consent, sex is not love, it is not connection, it is not exploration, it is violation. Consent transforms vulnerability into trust, it turns fear into freedom, and it builds the bridge where pleasure can exist without guilt or regret. Consent is the language of respect, the way you prove to your partner that they matter, that their comfort matters, and that their body is theirs before it is ever shared with you. To seek consent is to honor someone's humanity, to treat them not as an object but as a soul with feelings, boundaries, and desires of their own. Consent is not silent, it is not assumed, and it is never forced. It must be spoken, confirmed, and respected without hesitation. Every meaningful sexual experience begins with communication, with the courage to ask, "Are you okay with this?" and the patience to wait for an honest answer. Consent makes intimacy mutual, it makes connection real, and it ensures that no one leaves the moment feeling broken, used, or disrespected. In the context of anal sex, consent becomes even more vital because it involves vulnerability, trust, and a level of sensitivity that cannot be taken lightly. To ask and to listen is to recognize that your partner's comfort matters more than your desire, and to honor that choice is the truest form of care. Consent is not just about saying yes, it is about understanding what that yes means, what boundaries exist within it, and how to move together in harmony. Consent is a continuous conversation, not a one-time agreement. It requires constant attention, awareness, and respect. The power of consent is that it creates safety, it allows people to relax into the experience without fear, and it opens the door to pleasure that is genuine and shared. Without consent, the body tenses, the mind resists, and what could have been beautiful becomes traumatic. With consent, the body softens, the heart trusts, and the soul embraces the intimacy as something chosen, not imposed. Consent means stopping when your partner says stop, it means slowing down when they feel discomfort, and it means listening with your heart as much as with your ears. Consent is a dialogue where silence is not acceptance, where hesitation is a signal, and where only clarity brings freedom. To honor consent is to build intimacy on truth, not assumption, on openness, not selfishness, and on respect, not control. Consent is how partners create equality in the most intimate of spaces, ensuring that both are givers and receivers of trust, of care, and of pleasure. Without consent, there is no pleasure worth having, because pleasure built on disregard is only pain disguised. Consent is not negotiable, it is not optional, it is the single most important precaution in sexual health and in emotional well-being. It is the heartbeat of safe sex, the protector of dignity, and the proof of love in action. Asking for consent shows courage, respecting it shows maturity, and honoring it shows integrity. Consent is where safety begins and where true intimacy thrives, because it ensures that every moment is shared, not stolen. Consent is not about fear of consequences, it is about love for another person's autonomy. It is about the joy of knowing they chose you as much as you chose them. Consent teaches us patience, it teaches us empathy, and it teaches us that no amount of desire justifies ignoring another person's boundaries. When you embrace consent, you create space for deeper pleasure because your partner feels free, they feel seen, and they feel safe. Consent builds anticipation, it builds trust, and it makes every moment richer because it was wanted, not forced. Consent is the most powerful aphrodisiac because nothing is more attractive than knowing your partner truly wants to be there with you. Consent is protection against harm, but it is also the foundation of pleasure because shared desire magnifies joy. Consent is the bridge between physical passion and emotional intimacy, binding them together in harmony. Without consent, there is only power imbalance, but with consent, there is equality, unity, and fulfillment. Consent protects the mind as much as the body because it removes doubt, it eliminates fear, and it affirms worth. Consent is love spelled out in action, it is desire filtered through care, and it is intimacy carried with respect. Consent requires courage to ask and humility to accept the answer, even when it is no. Consent means being strong enough to prioritize the person you are with, instead of just the pleasure you are chasing. Consent is a shield, but it is also a gift, because it allows both partners to step into intimacy with confidence and joy. Consent is proof that sex can be safe, passionate, and deeply meaningful when built on mutual agreement. Consent is not only about words, it is about body language, tone, and the energy your partner gives off. It is about awareness. Consent makes you more attentive, more connected, more present in the moment, which enhances every sensation. Consent is not static, it evolves with every touch, every shift in comfort, every change in desire, and it must be checked again and again. Consent is respect turned into action, it is love turned into safety, it is passion turned into partnership. Consent is not the end of freedom, it is the beginning of it because only in safety can pleasure truly flourish. Consent is not just a precaution, it is the essence of intimacy, the reason sex can be healing instead of harmful, fulfilling instead of frightening. Hygiene is the silent protector of intimacy, the invisible guardian that transforms an experience from careless to safe, from risky to responsible, from shallow to respectful. Hygiene is not about vanity, it is about health, it is about dignity, and it is about showing your partner that you care enough to prepare your body and your space for them. Cleanliness is an act of respect, not just for yourself but for the person you are inviting into the most private part of your being. Hygiene creates comfort, it removes fear, it allows the body and the mind to relax into pleasure instead of being distracted by worry. When we talk about anal sex, hygiene becomes even more vital because the body part involved carries natural bacteria that can cause harm if ignored. Proper hygiene reduces the risk of infections, irritation and discomfort, ensuring that the experience is one of trust and safety. To prepare with cleanliness is to show your partner that their well-being matters as much as your desire. Hygiene builds confidence, because when you know you are clean, you can focus on connection instead of fear. It is not just about soap and water, it is about intentional preparation, about giving thought to every detail that could affect your partner's comfort. Hygiene is an act of love, because it says without words, I respect you enough to give you the best version of myself. Cleanliness prevents disease, but more than that it builds trust, because your partner knows you care for them beyond your own pleasure. A shower before intimacy is not just a ritual, it is a statement, it is the declaration that you want to share something pure, not careless. Hygiene helps the body feel fresh, but it also helps the mind feel secure, and without that security, there can be no true enjoyment. Ignoring hygiene is selfish, it is reckless, and it puts both you and your partner at unnecessary risk. To prioritize hygiene is to protect health, to protect dignity, and to protect the bond you are building. Hygiene is the first step toward safety, because no precaution matters if the environment itself is not clean. It prevents the spread of bacteria from one part of the body to another, which is especially important when shifting from anal to vaginal play. Hygiene is not just a responsibility, it is a gift, because it shows care, it shows thoughtfulness, and it shows respect. Clean preparation creates peace of mind, and peace of mind creates freedom to enjoy every sensation fully. Hygiene ensures that pleasure is not interrupted by discomfort, by odor, or by embarrassment. It removes distractions and creates a space where both partners can immerse themselves in connection. When you commit to hygiene, you commit to respect, because you are saying your health and comfort mean more than my impatience. Hygiene is not optional, it is essential, because anal sex without preparation risks not only discomfort, but long-term harm. Cleanliness empowers confidence, because it removes the doubt that something could go wrong due to carelessness. Hygiene requires responsibility, and responsibility is the foundation of mature intimacy. To prepare your body is to prepare your mind, and to prepare your mind is to prepare your partner's heart. Hygiene is not something to be ashamed of, it is something to be proud of, because it proves that you approach sex with wisdom and respect. Cleanliness is a shield against infections such as E. coli or even more serious diseases, and ignoring this shield is gambling with your health and your partner's trust. Hygiene is about care before, during, and after intimacy, because protection is not a moment, it is a process. Cleanliness should never be rushed, because rushed hygiene is incomplete hygiene, and incomplete hygiene is unsafe intimacy. Hygiene is a form of foreplay, because it prepares the body, calms the mind, and heightens anticipation. Taking time to clean is not killing the mood, it is creating the conditions where the mood can thrive without worry. Hygiene is not just physical, it is emotional, because it shows your partner that you think about how they feel, not just how you feel. Clean preparation communicates maturity, responsibility, and deep respect for the intimacy you are about to share. Hygiene builds the foundation for pleasure that is guilt-free, worry-free, and safe. When you honor hygiene, you honor your partner's health, and when you honor their health, you prove your love in action. Hygiene is protection against the unseen dangers, the bacteria and viruses that cannot be felt until it is too late. Cleanliness is not weakness, it is strength, because it takes discipline to care enough to prepare properly. Hygiene means going the extra mile to make sure that the act of intimacy is safe, and that safety creates trust that lasts beyond the moment. Cleanliness is a form of respect for your own body, because your body deserves to be cared for, protected, and valued. Hygiene creates equality, because both partners share responsibility for safety and comfort. Cleanliness ensures that passion is not interrupted by fear, and that intimacy is not stained by regret. Hygiene is not negotiable, because no moment of desire is worth risking long-term health. Cleanliness is an investment in future pleasure, because safe sex today means no complications tomorrow. Hygiene is awareness, and awareness is love, because love always seeks to protect. Hygiene means not just washing but also ensuring nails are clean, toys are sanitized, and hands are ready for touch without harm. Cleanliness removes shame, because nothing destroys passion faster than feeling unprepared. Hygiene magnifies pleasure, because a clean body feels better, smells better, and connects better.
Hygiene is the beginning of safety, the beginning of respect, and the beginning of true sexual maturity. Without hygiene, there can be no safety, and without safety there can be no trust, and without trust, there can be no real intimacy. Hygiene is the most basic but also the most powerful precaution, because it shapes the entire experience before it even begins. Lubrication is the lifeline of comfort, the difference between pleasure and pain, the single precaution that can transform a risky experience into one that feels safe, smooth, and deeply enjoyable. The anus is not designed to self-lubricate like the vagina, which means without added lubrication, the act can easily cause tearing, burning, or long-lasting discomfort. To neglect lubrication is to invite unnecessary pain, and to prioritize lubrication is to prioritize care, respect, and safety. Lubrication is the body's best ally during anal sex, because it reduces friction, protects delicate tissue, and makes every movement more natural. Without it, no matter how aroused you are, the body cannot relax fully, because tension and dryness make every touch feel forced. Lubrication is not just about sensation, it is about protection, because it lowers the risk of microtears that can open the door to infections and sexually transmitted diseases. The simple act of reaching for lube is an act of maturity, showing that you are wise enough to prepare and thoughtful enough to protect your partner's well-being. Using lubrication allows both partners to focus on connection instead of discomfort, on intimacy instead of struggle, on pleasure instead of pain. Lubrication sends a clear message that you want your partner to feel safe, that their body matters, and that their comfort is as important as your desire. When the body feels ease instead of resistance, the mind can open to deeper levels of intimacy and trust. Lubrication creates glide, and glide creates relaxation, and relaxation is the key to unlocking deeper pleasure. Without it, the body tenses up, the muscles resist, and what could have been a moment of closeness turns into a memory of pain. Lubrication is not optional, it is essential, because anal sex without lube is not only uncomfortable, but potentially harmful. The choice of lubricant matters, because water-based lubes are safe with condoms, silicone-based ones last longer, and oil-based lubes should be avoided with latex. Taking the time to choose the right lubricant is not a burden, it is a responsibility, because it shows care for both safety and satisfaction. Lubrication magnifies pleasure, because it allows for smooth movement, gentle rhythm, and exploration without fear. It reduces pressure on the muscles, letting them adapt more easily, and it allows the body to gradually welcome penetration. Lubrication is patience in liquid form, because it allows time for the body to adjust without force. It is a bridge between desire and comfort, ensuring that one never has to be sacrificed for the other. Lubrication transforms the act into something that flows instead of something that feels forced, and that difference can decide whether the memory becomes cherished or regretted. Applying lubrication should never be rushed, because the act itself can be sensual, a way of preparing together, of turning safety into intimacy. Lubrication is a gift, a way of saying I want this to feel good for you as much as it does for me. Without it there is no true consent, because no one consents to pain born out of neglect. With it every touch is smoother, every movement is gentler, and every moment is safer. Lubrication protects against friction that could otherwise tear delicate tissue, creating pain that lingers long after the moment is gone. It ensures that passion does not cross the line into injury, that desire does not erase wisdom, and that pleasure does not become regret. Lubrication empowers partners to go slow, to explore, to communicate, and to build comfort layer by layer. It turns what could feel intimidating into something inviting, something that can be enjoyed instead of endured. Lubrication is an investment in the moment, because a few drops can protect hours of comfort and preserve long-term health. It is the safeguard that keeps anal sex from becoming an experience of suffering. Lubrication demonstrates responsibility, because it shows you understand how the body works and how it needs support. It removes unnecessary barriers and creates a smoother path for both partners to enjoy. Lubrication is confidence, because when you use it, you know you are reducing the chances of pain, and that confidence lets you and your partner relax. It is attention, because reaching for it shows that you have thought ahead about what is needed to make the experience safe. Lubrication is the difference between selfishness and care, between recklessness and responsibility, between harm and harmony. To ignore it is to ignore biology, and to use it is to respect the reality of the body. Lubrication makes every touch glide instead of drag, every rhythm flow instead of scrape, every movement enhance instead of wound. It takes the pressure off performance, because when the body feels smooth, pleasure comes more naturally. Lubrication allows you to explore positions, depth and rhythm with less fear, because you know the body is protected. It enhances not only physical safety, but also emotional trust, because your partner knows you prepared for their comfort. Lubrication is not weakness, it is strength, because it proves you care enough to ensure safety. It is not something to hide or feel embarrassed about, it is something to embrace, because it is the mark of responsible intimacy. Lubrication is not only a precaution, it is a tool of pleasure, making sensations more intense yet more comfortable at the same time. Without it, the act is often cut short, but with it, the experience can last longer and feel more fulfilling. Lubrication is foresight, the recognition that preparation creates freedom, and that freedom creates real satisfaction.
It is the unspoken agreement that both partners deserve to feel good, not just one. Lubrication is a simple precaution with enormous power because it holds the potential to protect the body, strengthen trust, and deepen connection all at once. It removes unnecessary barriers to pleasure and creates conditions where intimacy can thrive. Lubrication proves that safety and passion can coexist, that responsibility and pleasure are not enemies but allies. It is the quiet detail that shapes the entire experience, often unnoticed when present but painfully obvious when absent. Lubrication is proof that caring for the body is the most powerful way to unlock the full potential of desire. It is the liquid thread that binds respect, safety and pleasure into one seamless act of intimacy. Going slow is not a weakness, it is the highest form of wisdom, because it teaches the body and the mind to welcome intimacy instead of fearing it. The human body is not made to open instantly. It requires patience, gentleness, and care to feel safe enough to surrender. Rushing anal sex is not only reckless, it is dangerous, because the muscles are tight, the tissues are delicate, and force can only create pain, tearing, and trauma. To go slow is to respect the body's natural rhythm, to give it time to adapt, and to show your partner that their comfort is more important than your impatience. Slowness is the secret to pleasure, because when the body relaxes gradually, every sensation is heightened, every movement feels deeper, and every touch is embraced instead of resisted. To go slow is to communicate, to ask, to listen, to adjust, and to make every step a shared decision, rather than a forced action. Rushing ignores boundaries, but slowing down honors them, and honor is the only way intimacy can feel safe. The anus is surrounded by strong muscles that will resist if you force them, but if you go slow, those same muscles will soften, release, and welcome you in. Relaxation is not just physical, it is mental, because the mind must feel safe before the body can open. If your partner feels fear or pressure, their body will tighten, but if they feel patience and respect, their body will ease into acceptance. Going slow builds trust, because it proves that you care more about the journey than just the destination. Patience is power, because it shows you are in control of yourself and capable of prioritizing someone else's comfort. To go slow is to create intimacy in layers, where each layer of acceptance makes the next one even more beautiful. Every pause, every gentle movement, every moment of waiting allows the body to catch up with the mind, and that harmony is the key to true satisfaction. Going slow prevents injury, but it also deepens connection, because it turns what could be rushed into a shared exploration of pleasure. It creates anticipation, it builds intensity, it magnifies sensation, because nothing is more powerful than desire that grows gradually. Rushing only creates fear, but slowness creates trust, and trust is the foundation of real intimacy. Going slow shows emotional intelligence, because it proves you understand that pleasure cannot be forced, it must be invited. Relaxation is the goal, because without relaxation, the body resists, and resistance turns every touch into friction. When the body is relaxed, every movement feels natural, and what could have been painful becomes intensely pleasurable. Going slow is an act of love, because it says to your partner, I want you to feel good, I want you to feel safe, I want you to feel respected. Slowing down is not about delaying pleasure, it is about multiplying it, because the longer you take, the more powerful the release becomes. Rushing kills intimacy, but patience fuels it, because patience gives the body time to welcome, rather than to fight. Going slow is a gift, because it gives your partner the chance to breathe, to adjust, and to find comfort in your presence. Every moment of slowness creates reassurance, because it reminds your partner that they are in control, and control builds safety. Relaxation is the door to pleasure, and patience is the key, because without both, intimacy becomes nothing but strain. Going slow creates confidence, because when your partner feels no pressure, they can focus entirely on their own pleasure. Patience is sexy, because it shows self-control, attentiveness, and maturity, qualities that make the experience unforgettable. Going slow turns intimacy into a dance, where every move is felt deeply, every step is taken together, and every moment builds anticipation. Slowness allows the body to respond naturally, letting the muscles open on their own, without force. Going slow is not boring, it is powerful, because it stretches the pleasure, making every second count. Relaxation is a shared responsibility, because both partners must breathe, must communicate, and must honor each other's limits. To go slow is to reject selfishness, because selfishness rushes, but love waits. Going slow is how you prove your partner is not just a body, but a soul worthy of patience, respect, and tenderness. Rushing may satisfy an urge, but going slow creates an experience worth remembering. Going slow reduces pain, prevents injury, and protects the body, but it also nurtures the heart, because it makes intimacy safe. Relaxation magnifies every sensation, because when the body is free of tension, it can feel everything more intensely. Patience is a language, and when spoken through touch, it says louder than words that your partner matters. Going slow is not about holding back, it is about giving more, because you give time, you give comfort, you give respect. Relaxation is the pathway to ecstasy, and the slower you walk it, the deeper the ecstasy becomes. To go slow is to care about how your partner feels in every second, not just at the end. Slowness creates rhythm, and rhythm creates harmony, and harmony creates unforgettable intimacy. Going slow ensures that every step forward is a choice, not a push, and that makes the experience safe. Relaxation is trust expressed through the body, and going slow is how you earn it. Patience prevents regret, because what is rushed is often remembered for pain, but what is slow is remembered for pleasure. Going slow is the art of intimacy, because it teaches you to savor, not just consume. Relaxation allows you to enjoy the moment fully, instead of worrying about what comes next. Going slow transforms sex into connection, because it creates space for eye contact, for words, for breathing together. Patience makes intimacy powerful, because it takes something physical, and turns it into something emotional. Going slow makes the body bloom like a flower, opening gradually, beautifully, and naturally. Relaxation is the sign that your partner feels safe, and safety is the soil where intimacy grows. Going slow shows mastery, because anyone can rush, but only the wise can wait. Patience is strength, because it means you are not controlled by impulse, but guided by respect. Going slow turns a moment into a memory, and a memory into a bond that lasts. Relaxation is not just an effect, it is a goal, a sign that intimacy has become comfort instead of fear. Going slow is the proof that real pleasure is not about speed, but about depth. Patience builds anticipation, and anticipation makes release more powerful than rushing ever could. Going slow is how you turn precaution into pleasure, safety into satisfaction, and respect into desire.
Protection is not a barrier to intimacy. It is the very foundation of safety, the invisible shield that allows passion to flourish without the shadow of fear. To use protection is to honor both your own health and the health of your partner, proving that your desire is strong enough to be guided by responsibility. A condom is not an interruption. It is a safeguard. It is the difference between recklessness and wisdom, between risk and respect. Protection is not about killing the mood. It is about protecting the future, because no moment of pleasure is worth a lifetime of regret. Using protection shows care, it shows maturity, and it shows that you value your partner beyond the physical act. Protection is a silent promise, the promise that you will not expose someone you care about to harm, to infection, or to disease. To neglect protection is to gamble with life, and there is nothing sexy about gambling with someone else's safety. Condoms reduce the risk of HIV, STIs, and harmful bacteria, and their use should never be seen as optional. To wear protection is to prove you are in control, not ruled by impulse but guided by responsibility. Protection is not a restriction, it is liberation, because when you know you are safe, you can relax, you can explore, and you can surrender to the moment fully. Without protection, every touch carries the risk of consequences that can scar both body and heart. With protection, the experience becomes free of fear, and fearlessness is the pathway to deeper pleasure. Using a condom in anal sex is not just recommended, it is essential, because the risk of tearing and the transmission of infections is higher than with vaginal sex. Protection is the precaution that turns danger into safety, and safety into intimacy worth remembering. A condom is not just latex, it is care made visible, it is love wrapped in responsibility, it is desire shaped by wisdom. Using protection is never unsexy, it is the most attractive signal of respect you can give your partner. It tells them that you are not selfish, that you are not careless, that you value their body as much as your own. To protect is to respect, and respect is the foundation of trust, and trust is the soil where intimacy grows. Without protection, sex can feel risky, but with protection it feels free, it feels safe, it feels complete. A simple act like rolling on a condom can change everything. It can mean the difference between regret and reassurance. Protection is the line between carelessness and maturity, and only the mature can understand its true power. Condoms are not the enemy of sensation, they are the guardians of health, and health is what allows you to experience pleasure for years to come. Protection keeps intimacy beautiful by ensuring that no shadow of infection hangs over the memory. To use protection is to say without words, I want to share this moment with you, but I also want you to be safe tomorrow. Protection prevents bacteria from spreading between anal and vaginal sex, avoiding painful infections that can easily be prevented. Using a condom is not a hassle, it is a precaution that takes seconds but protects for a lifetime. Protection is proof that you know the risks, but you care enough to avoid them, and that is the truest form of respect. To go unprotected is to ignore reality, but to protect is to embrace responsibility with courage. Protection is foresight, it is preparation, it is wisdom applied in the heat of passion. A condom is not a barrier to connection, it is a pathway to peace of mind, and peace of mind creates space for deeper intimacy. To use protection is to guard your future, because every act without it risks consequences that could last forever. Protection is not just about you, it is about the person who trusts you enough to share their body, and trust should never be betrayed. Using a condom is not a chore, it is a choice that proves you value love over lust, respect over recklessness. Protection is the silent guardian of sexual freedom, because it keeps your body safe and your mind clear. Without it, every sensation comes with fear, but with it, every sensation comes with freedom. Protection is strength, because it shows you can think with wisdom even when desire is strongest. To protect is to prove that you are not a prisoner of the moment, but a master of it. Protection keeps intimacy clean, safe, and free from the stains of carelessness. Every time you use protection, you are saying, I want this to be beautiful, not dangerous. Protection is the bridge between passion and safety, turning what could harm into something that heals. It is the simplest act with the most powerful impact.
because it shields not just the body, but also the soul from regret. Protection allows you to go further, explore deeper, and enjoy longer, because fear no longer holds you back. Without protection, you gamble with health, with trust, with love, but with it, you protect everything that matters. Protection is proof that you understand love is not only about pleasure, but about responsibility. It is not a pause in intimacy, it is part of it, because nothing is more intimate than proving you care enough to keep your partner safe. Protection is not just a precaution, it is the standard, it is the non-negotiable rule of safe sex. To wear a condom is to value life, health, and future more than temporary impulse. Protection is not weakness, it is strength, because it takes strength to prioritize what is right over what is easy. It is not a disruption, it is an enhancement, because it makes every touch free of fear. With protection there are no doubts, no risks, no regrets, only the freedom to give and receive fully. Protection is not the death of passion, it is its amplifier, because safety makes pleasure limitless. To use protection is to create a safe space where intimacy can thrive, where love can grow, where trust can deepen. Protection is respect turned physical, love turned practical, desire turned responsible. Without it, sex is a risk, but with it, sex is a gift, safe, pure, and unforgettable. Protection makes intimacy not just an act of passion, but an act of love, because love always protects. Listening to your body is the greatest wisdom you can carry into intimacy, because your body never lies. It whispers signals of comfort, it screams warnings of danger, and it guides you towards safety, if only you are willing to hear it. To ignore your body is to silence your own protector, but to listen is to unlock the deepest form of self-respect. Every sensation matters, every twinge matters, every pause matters, because they are all messages sent to protect your health and your pleasure. When engaging in anal sex, listening to your body becomes the difference between an experience of connection and an experience of injury. Discomfort is not weakness, it is communication. It is your body telling you that something needs to slow down, something needs more care, something needs to stop. Pain is not something to push through, it is something to pay attention to, because ignoring pain is how trauma and damage are created. To listen to your body is to treat yourself as valuable, as deserving of safety, as worthy of respect. Your body knows when it is ready, your body knows when it is not, and forcing it against its will is to betray yourself. Every muscle has a voice, and when the muscles tighten, they are saying they are not ready, but when they soften, they are inviting you to proceed. Listening is not weakness, it is strength, because it takes courage to stop, it takes wisdom to slow down, and it takes maturity to honor your body's signals. To listen to your body is to recognize that pleasure and safety are partners, not enemies, and that one cannot truly exist without the other. Ignoring what your body tells you only creates scars, but respecting those signals creates trust between your mind and your body. When your body resists, it is not betraying you, it is protecting you, and to push through that resistance is to harm the very vessel that carries you. Listening means knowing the difference between discomfort that fades with adjustment and pain that warns of harm. It means knowing when to breathe, when to pause, when to ask for more lube, when to change position, and when to stop completely. Listening to your body builds self-confidence, because you learn to trust your instincts, and trust is the foundation of intimacy. It is not just about physical signals, it is about emotions too, because if your mind feels uneasy, your body will follow, tightening up and rejecting the act. Listening is a full-body experience, where you honor the connection between mind, body, and soul. To listen is to stay present, to pay attention, to avoid being lost in desire, to the point of forgetting self-care. Listening to your body is the difference between experiencing sex as something empowering and experiencing it as something damaging. When you ignore your body, you silence its wisdom, but when you listen, you allow it to guide you toward safety and true pleasure. The body has limits, and those limits are not flaws. They are boundaries designed to protect you, and honoring them is a sign of respect for yourself. Listening to your body also means communicating with your partner, because only you know what you feel, and only you can express it clearly. If your body feels tense, if your breath feels heavy, if your muscles resist, those are messages that should never be ignored. Listening prevents regret, because regret is born from ignoring the signals that begged you to stop. To listen is to give yourself permission to matter, permission to be safe, permission to put health before pressure. Listening teaches patience, because when you pause to honor your body, you learn that intimacy is not about speed but about harmony. Your body will reward you for listening with greater comfort, deeper relaxation, and more intense pleasure. Ignoring it will only punish you with pain, injuries, or infections that could have been avoided. Listening is an act of self-love, because it proves that your body's worth is higher than anyone's impatience. It shows that your boundaries are not negotiable, that your safety is not optional, that your well-being is priceless. Listening makes intimacy sustainable, because it prevents damage that could steal your ability to enjoy pleasure in the future. It allows sex to be a source of joy rather than a source of harm. Listening creates trust not only with yourself but also with your partner, because when you speak up about your body's needs, you invite them into a space of honesty. It allows your partner to learn your rhythm, your boundaries, your signals, and to adjust in ways that make the experience safer and more intimate.
Listening is not selfish, it is essential, because only when you are safe can intimacy truly be shared. Your body is sacred, and to listen is to treat it as sacred, to honor the signals that protect it. Listening is responsibility, because every choice you make in intimacy has consequences, and your body gives you warnings before those consequences arrive. Listening turns sex into a conversation, rather than an imposition, because it ensures that both your body and your partner are working in harmony. Listening teaches you to breathe, because breath is the signal that controls relaxation, and relaxation is what makes anal sex safe. Listening is the most powerful precaution, because no external advice matters if you silence the voice of your own body. It is the most personal form of protection, because it is tailored to you, your limits, your feelings and your needs. Listening creates safety in real time, because you do not have to wait for harm to appear. You can stop it before it happens. Listening allows you to know when you need more preparation, more lubrication, or more time to relax, and honoring those needs makes intimacy gentle and fulfilling. Listening removes shame, because it tells you that your body is not wrong for resisting. It is simply asking for more care. Listening makes you powerful, because it teaches you to set boundaries without fear, and boundaries are the highest form of self-respect. To listen is to take control, because ignoring your body is handing control to chance, but honoring it is living with wisdom. Listening to your body will save you from harm, but more importantly, it will lead you to a place where intimacy feels safe, empowering, and deeply satisfying. Listening is the art of self-respect, and self-respect is the foundation of every safe and meaningful sexual experience. Aftercare is not an option, it is a necessity, because intimacy does not end the moment the act is over, it continues in the way you treat yourself and your partner afterward. Aftercare is the proof that sex is more than release. It is about connection, about safety, about nurturing the body and the heart once vulnerability has been shared. The body has just gone through an experience that demands attention, and ignoring aftercare is ignoring the needs that follow intimacy. Cleaning up is not just hygiene, it is comfort. It is a reset that allows the body to feel refreshed, safe, and cared for. Aftercare reduces the risk of infections, it prevents bacteria from lingering, and it ensures that health is not compromised after pleasure. A simple act of washing, wiping, or changing into fresh clothes is not small, it is powerful, because it removes the invisible dangers that could follow. Aftercare is not just physical, it is emotional, because sharing intimacy, especially anal sex, requires trust and vulnerability that deserve reassurance afterward. Holding your partner, speaking gently, or simply being present communicates that what you shared was about connection, not just physical desire. Aftercare builds trust, because it shows that you are not done caring once your own satisfaction is complete. It reassures your partner that they are valued, respected, and loved beyond the physical act. Aftercare is protection, because it is in those quiet moments that safety is reinforced, and intimacy deepens. Checking for irritation or discomfort is not clinical, it is compassionate, because it shows attentiveness to your partner's well-being. Aftercare allows the body to heal, to relax, and to transition back to balance after being stretched, touched, and challenged in ways that require recovery. To neglect aftercare is to neglect the consequences of the act, but to honor it is to ensure that the experience remains positive in memory. Aftercare turns sex into love, because it transforms passion into tenderness, and desire into care. Aftercare reduces guilt, removes fear, and builds confidence that the experience was safe, consensual, and respectful. It is the reminder that pleasure does not have to end with climax, it can continue in the comfort of closeness, and the security of care. Aftercare strengthens emotional bonds, because the way you treat someone after intimacy tells them everything about how much you value them. Aftercare is what prevents intimacy from feeling transactional, because it proves that you are invested in the whole person, not just the act. Aftercare also means being attentive to your own needs, because your body also deserves care, cleaning, and rest to recover. Aftercare is how you ensure that no harm goes unnoticed, because it is in those moments that you can recognize signs of irritation, pain, or injury before they worsen. Aftercare is respect carried beyond the moment, because true respect does not stop when desire is satisfied. It is a continuation of consent, because it ensures that comfort and safety remain even after the act is done. Aftercare protects dignity, because it makes intimacy something that uplifts, rather than something that leaves behind shame or discomfort. Aftercare is intimacy's echo, the reminder that the act was meaningful, safe, and valued. It is the healing stage where bodies settle, hearts soften, and minds process what has been shared. Aftercare builds anticipation for future intimacy, because it reassures both partners that what was shared was safe and fulfilling. Aftercare reduces the risk of negative associations, because without it, discomfort, infections, or feelings of neglect can overshadow the memory of pleasure. Aftercare is the sign of emotional intelligence, because it proves you understand that sex is not only physical but deeply emotional. Aftercare makes your partner feel secure, and security is what allows them to open to you again in the future with trust and enthusiasm. Aftercare is the place where love and sex merge into one, because love is proven in the tenderness that follows passion. Aftercare is an investment in your health and your partner's health, because it prevents complications that could have lifelong consequences. Aftercare is awareness, because it takes maturity to know that the end of the act is not the end of responsibility. Aftercare is protection against the unseen, the bacteria that linger, the small tears that need time to heal, the emotions that need space to be reassured. Aftercare requires patience, because it demands you stay present even after your own needs have been met. Aftercare is proof of character, because only someone who values their partner truly can extend care beyond their own climax. Aftercare nurtures intimacy, because the gentleness after intensity makes the entire experience more meaningful. Aftercare makes your partner feel cherished, and that feeling is what makes them trust you again with their vulnerability. Aftercare is how you build memories that are not only passionate but safe, respected, and cherished. Aftercare gives closure to the act, ensuring that it ends on a note of care instead of neglect. Aftercare is the continuation of protection, because protection does not stop at condoms or lube. It continues into cleaning, checking, and comforting. Aftercare is maturity in action, because immature lovers walk away, but mature lovers stay, care, and connect. Aftercare is the whisper after the shout, the calm after the storm, the tenderness after the intensity, and it matters just as much as the act itself. Aftercare proves that intimacy is not about taking, it is about giving, and giving continues even when the act is over. Aftercare prevents harm, but more importantly, it creates love, it builds trust, and it transforms sex into a safe and empowering experience. Aftercare is responsibility, because responsibility does not end when pleasure does. Aftercare is not extra, it is essential, and without it, sex is incomplete. Aftercare is how you say thank you without words. Thank you for trust. Thank you for openness. Thank you for sharing something so vulnerable. Aftercare creates healing, because it allows both partners to feel safe in their bodies and secure in their emotions. Aftercare is safety extended, intimacy deepened, and respect fulfilled. Aftercare is how you prove that intimacy with you is not risky, but nurturing, not careless, but responsible. Aftercare is not the end, it is the beginning of deeper trust, greater safety, and stronger love.